So the first thing that we're going to do is look at the directions that are up at the front. So the directions for completing the square to get a vertex into from standard form into vertex form. And that's the form that we used to graph last class. So last class we did graphing and your functions were all in vertex form. Today they're not in vertex form. And we're going to put them in vertex form. To do that, the steps say first change f of x to 0. Sometimes the problem is set up and it's already equal 0. Okay, well then you just keep going. Sometimes the problem is f of x, and if it is, you need to set it equal to 0 because that's how we solve, that's how we're going to complete the square. So the next thing that we're going to do is move the constant. The constant is the very last number. It's a number without a variable. And then we're going to make blanks. There's nothing to fill in here. Like we're literally going to set up the problem like that with blanks. And then right underneath, we're going to write a second line. So when we complete the square, we're going to make a line right underneath it every single time that looks like this. And this sign right here is going to tell us this sign. Let me circle that. This sign will always match this sign right there, whatever it is. If it's a plus, we're going to put a plus here. If it's a minus, you put a minus there. So this sign tells us what this sign is. And then you're going to subtract the constant. You're going to figure out what goes here. So you can't fill in the blank right here until you evaluate that. None of this is going to make sense till we actually do a problem. And then we're going to add b divided by 2 to both sides. That's what actually goes into the blank. And b is this value right here. And then our whole goal is to make our equation look like this. This is what it looked like last time when we would find h and k to plot the point for the vertex. And then a would tell us, you know, if you stretch it. A also told you if your graph was facing up or facing down, and we would graph it. So the two really important things that you need to know today are these two formulas, and this is how we set up the problem. So we're going to set up the formula like this. We're going to use this to get to this form. Let's do it. So here is my first two problems. They're both f of x. So the very first step is we have to set it equal to 0. So I can just put it like that. That's equal to 0. I can go ahead and do that with number 2. Like first it has to be equal to 0. The next step, you have to move the constant to the other side. So the constant is the number without a variable. It's also the c value. So let me go ahead and label that this is a, this is b, this is c. C is the constant, and you have to move it to the other side. It's positive on this side, so when we move it over, it's going to be negative. So we have to bring over and subtract 1. That's our very first step. When I rewrite, I am going to rewrite and I'm going to use this form right here. So I'm going to rewrite these two lines. I'll show you what that looks like. So when I rewrite, I get, and I'm going to kind of shift everything over just a little bit. So I get x squared plus 4x, always plus blank equals, and what's 0 minus 1? Okay, I'm only going to write -1. So minus 1, always plus blank. So I've got blanks on both sides. Next, I'm going to put the parentheses. So the parentheses, x squared, and an equal sign. This term is positive. So right there, your sign is going to be positive. So this tells me that right here, I'm going to put a plus sign. If this was a minus, then I would put a minus. Now, I am going to do this formula right here. This tells us this is completing the square. I'm going to do b divided by 2 squared. And I'm going to write it down off to the side. This is what I want to see on your paper. So those of you that get points taken off, you will get points taken off if you do not show me this step. It doesn't have to be right here. It can be way down here. You can put it wherever you want, but I want to see b divided by 2 squared. And so this is me filling in these blanks. Hold on. I lost the mouse. Okay, b divided by 2, and I'm going to do this in a different color so you can see that this is what I'm filling in. Off to the side somewhere. I'm going to do b. What is b? B is 4. And always ignore the sign. Whatever the sign is, you ignore it because you already put it right here. So if it's a minus, you don't think about the minus because you just put the minus right here. So 4 divided by 2 squared. B divided by 2 squared. B is 4. 4 divided by 2 squared. Okay, what is in parentheses goes in parentheses. So in parentheses, what's 4 divided by 2? That's what goes right here in these parentheses. 2. And now I'm going to work my way up to fill in what goes on the blanks. And so what's 2 squared? And you go up with it. What's 2 squared? 4. Anything you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other. So over here, what's 4 minus 1? 3. We just completed the square. Now this is the last step in our list. The last step is put it back in vertex form, or sorry, put it in vertex form to make it look like this. So right now the constant is on this side. We're just going to move it back over. So we moved it to complete the square. Now we're going to put it back. And so my last step, I'm just going to move the 3 over and I'm going to make it f of x again. So I'm going to move over the 3 by subtracting, and I'm going to make sure that it's f of x. Because we took it out of f of x, now we're going to put the f of x back. And then x plus 2 squared minus 3. That is my equation. And so this is what we used to graph last time. Let's do another one. We already said it equal to 0. Now I'm going to write those 2 lines. So the first line, I'm going to have x squared minus 8x plus blank. Oh, I also have to move over and subtract 7 to the other side. So I have equals negative 7 plus blank. And then right below that, I've got the parentheses with x squared equals. For this one, what's the sign for b? Negative, so this is going to be negative. Off to the side, I'm going to complete the square. So when I complete the square, this is A, B, and C. Completing the square is b divided by 2 squared. I already took care of the negative right here. So I don't put negative. I'm just going to do b. What is b? 8. It's going to be 8 divided by 2 squared. That's a step I want to see. What's in parentheses goes in parentheses. 8 divided by 2 is what? 4. That's what goes in parentheses. And then I work my way up. So 4 squared is what? 16. And I have to add it to both sides. What's 16 minus 7? 9. All right, I'm pretty much done. All I have to do is write it in this form. I need to have f of x, and I need to bring over the constant. So I need to bring over the 9 by subtracting and rewrite it as f of x. Or it could be y equals as well. And I just completed the square to write it in vertex form. Let's do it again because it's a lot to remember. So we just need some repetition. So our very first step is let's complete the square. So all we're doing is once we complete the square, we can actually graph it. And we're not drawing a super detailed graph because I didn't even put a coordinate plane on here. But from your vertex form, you can figure out very basic things. You can figure out what is the y-intercept. You can figure out what is the vertex. So here is my standard form. Let me label A, B, and C, A, B, C. My first step, I got to set it equal to 0, and I have to move over that constant. So I'm going to have to subtract 4. I write those two lines that are up at the top of the page, sorry, on the back, top of the page, that I first rewrite x squared minus 2x plus blank equals -4 plus blank. And then the next line where I'm completing the square, what's going to be the sign right here? Negative. So I know that right here will be a negative. And then from here, I'm ready to use the formula to complete the square. I'm going to show my step off to the side somewhere. B divided by 2 squared. And so the B value is what? What's B? 2. So I'm going to have 2 divided by 2 squared. What's in parentheses goes into the parentheses. What's 2 divided by 2? 1. So that's what goes in parentheses. And then I work my way up. What is 1 squared? 1. And then off to the side, what's -4 plus 1? -3. I'm pretty much done completing the square. I just need to get this back into vertex form. So I'm going to add 3 and set it equal to f of x. So I get f of x is equal to x minus 1 squared plus 3. A says complete the square to rewrite each equation in vertex form. Well, I just did that. It's right here. I don't think I need to rewrite it. I can just put a check mark. I did it. As long as you box it right here, I'm going to see that you did it. B. B is the y-intercept. B is the y-intercept. So there's 2 ways you could find the y-intercept. Last class, we had to plug in x was equal to 0, and we had to solve for the y-intercept. But there's something really nice about having both forms. So we have standard form and we have vertex form. When you're in standard form, if you set x equal to 0, that term turns into 0. That term turns into 0. And so what you're left with is the constant. That constant is your y-intercept. So my y-intercept, I don't have to solve for it because I have standard form. Y-intercept is 0, 4. And it's just that constant. Just for practice, what would the y-intercept for this for number 1 be? 1. What would the y-intercept for number 2 be? 7. Okay. So the y-intercept is 0, 4, or the y-intercept is at 4. C is what's the vertex? The vertex is always going to be HK. So remember, this is where A is, this is where H is, this is where K is. The vertex is HK. So what is my vertex? And it's always opposite H. 1, 3. Very good. Would this open up or down based on the A value? Is it positive or negative? What do y'all think? Positive. There's not a negative, so it's positive. It's going to open up. I don't see a graph, but I can already tell you what the domain is. What is it? Yep, all real numbers. The range, because it's facing up, the range is going to be y is greater than or equal to k. So what is the range? I don't have to see the graph to write the range either. What's the k value? 3. To make a simple sketch, it is going to be just that, a simple sketch. I'm going to put an x and I'm going to put a y axis. And all that I need to see on your graph is that you know how to plot a y-intercept and you know how to graph a vertex point. And we're just estimating, okay? Nothing is labeled. I'm not going to scale the graph. This is just a simple sketch. So it doesn't have to be perfect. So what I want to see on your graph is that you can plot the y-intercept. It's going to be at 4. Okay. And then my vertex is at 1, 3. Okay, so I'm just kind of estimate. I could go over 1 and up 3 and put a point. I'll put it like right there. So over 1, up 3, and I'll put a point, and I'm going to even label it. That's 1, 3. That's my vertex. And so my y-intercept is at 4. So if I'm saying that this is 3, well, it's just a little bit above that. So I'm saying that that is 4. Well, now I'm going to make a little graph. That's it. Let's do some more. So first step is I'm going to set this equation equal to 0. And I need to move my constant. So I'm going to subtract 5 to the other side. I'm going to write the 2 lines to complete the square. X squared plus 6x, always plus blank equals negative 5. Negative 5 plus blank. And then the next line, in completing the square, and I have A, B, and C. What should the sign be in the parentheses? What? Should be positive because the B value is positive. B value is positive and parentheses is positive. Now I'm ready to complete the square off to the side, and I'm going to have B divided by 2 squared. What is the B value? What is the B value? 6. So I'm going to have 6 divided by 2 squared. 6 divided by 2 is what's in parentheses, so it stays in parentheses. If you have your Chromebook open, please close it. 6 divided by 2 is what? 3, so that's what stays in parentheses, 3. And now I'm going to work my way up to fill in my 2 blanks. So 3 squared is what? 9. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides. And now I'm ready to figure out what it's equal to. So I have 9 minus 5. You can hardly see my negative, but it is negative. What's 9 minus 5? 4. I just need to rewrite in vertex form. So I need to bring the 4, the constant, back over by subtracting. And I get my vertex form function for this quadratic, x plus 3 squared minus 4. And I can label in my equation, this is where the A is, this is where the, not B, this is where the H is, and this is where the K is. So asked us to write in vertex form. Do we have the equation in vertex form? Did we just solve and get into vertex form? Yes, so I did it. I don't have to rewrite it. B asks you to find the y-intercept. Do you actually have to plug in 0 here and solve? No. You can look at the standard form. What is the y-intercept? 5. Beautiful. It's at 0, 5. C asks you to find the vertex. So the vertex is always HK. And so for this problem, what is the vertex opposite HK? What is my vertex? -3, -4, very good. D asks us, is it going to open up or down? Is A positive or negative? Positive, so it opens up. What's the domain? All real numbers. And because my graph opens up, its y is greater than or equal to k. So for this one, y is greater than or equal to, what is the k value? -4. All right, my simple sketch is just that. It is going to be a simple sketch. I've got an x and a y. I'm going to plot my vertex. My vertex is at -3, -4. Okay, if this is 0, -3, -4, I'm going to plot my vertex. And my y-intercept, what's my y-intercept? 5. Okay, well, I have to up here at 5 put a point for my y-intercept. All right, so I am just going to make my graph that goes through both the vertex and the y-intercept. It's not perfect, it's a simple sketch. And just make sure you label your vertex and your y-intercept. We have just one more problem. So next, I need to get this in vertex form. That's my very first step. I have to set this equal to 0, and I have to move over my constant. So I'm going to add 5. I need to make the two lines to complete the square. So my first line, x squared minus 2x plus blank equals 5 plus blank. The next line, I'm going to use this to complete the square. And what should the sign be in my parentheses? Negative, because the b value is negative. So this tells me that it's going to be a negative in there. I can label my A, B, and C. And off to the side, I can complete the square. Completing the square is b divided by 2 squared. What is the b value? 2. So I'm going to say 2 divided by 2 squared. I want to see this step. I want to see this little thing somewhere on your paper. It doesn't have to go right here. It could be down here. It could be right here. I just need to see this part. This is side work. What is 2 divided by 2? 1. I put it right here. And then I work my way up to fill in the blanks. 1 squared is what? 1. And I have to add it to both sides. So I'm going to tell you the reason why I ignore the sign. So let's think about it for a second. If I do 1 squared, what's 1 times 1? 1. Okay, if I think about it with a negative, what's -1 times -1? It's still +1. So it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, and that's why I don't say the negative, because then we start getting confused. So you can just think of the number squared, and that's what comes up here. Over here, 5 plus 1 is 6. So I have 6. And then to write in vertex form, I just need to bring the constant back over. I'm going to subtract 6 and write it as f of x equals. My A, B, and C for all my parts, sorry, A, H, and K. A, H, and K. Did I complete task A to rewrite into vertex form? Yes. I don't have to rewrite it. As long as I box it down here, I don't have to rewrite it. B. B is my y-intercept. What is my y-intercept? What? -5. So you have to take into account this this sign. So 0, -5. C. C is my vertex. What's my vertex? It's always opposite HK. 1, -6. And then D, my A value. Does it say that it's going to open up or open down? It's positive, so we'll open up. What's the domain? All real numbers. And then the range, depending on which way you're facing, and in this case, you're facing up, y is greater than or equal to k. So I have y is greater than or equal to what? -6. My simple sketch is just that. I'm going to put an x and a y. I'm going to start with plotting my vertex. My vertex is at 1, -6. So I'm going to go over just a little and down 6. I'm just estimating 1, 6. I'll put it like right here. 1, 6. And then my y-intercept is at -5. Okay, that makes sense. It's down here at -5. And then I make my little graph. And that is it for today. Those are all our notes. Completing the square to be able to graph on your homework. It's just like the back side of the notes. So we are done for today.